Okay, this is an electric motor that I took out of my 1957 Chevy Truck. When I took it out, this wire, which is the positive lead, was cut. And I didn't see a negative lead. It turns out the negative lead is actually, it's grounded to the frame here. So to turn it on, you're going to get a wire into here, and then you can just and then this is just grounded out when you put it back in the car. So the trick is, how do you take this apart and put it back together and get that new lead in there? The trick actually is that when you take this apart, you take these two bolts off here, you let this stay free, and as you pull it up, there's a rotor and stator that's on the inside, and you want the section that's free moving to pull along with this as you pull it out. You want that to go with it. What ends up happening, though, a lot of the times is when you take it apart, those two things separate. And if that happens, then there's two springs on each side of the metal pieces that push against the top, I believe, of the rotor. You have to basically get that back together, and it's a pain. So let me show you how to do that. This thing is a pain in the ass, but I think I figured it out. So there's two springs that go behind here and here. And the trick is, how do you keep those in place while you need to fit this in there? And what I figured out is that this whole piece comes out, like straight up comes out. At least I thought it did. Yeah, it does come out right here. And I think, so if I get this little piece here in the right spot, this comes out, and then you can take this and put it in there while you're holding those pieces apart, and then kind of fit it on here, and you don't have to drill anything. So I'm going to give it a whirl. Okay, so you can basically pull this straight up out here. And here, what you do, you're spinning this guy, and he's just going to go back and forth. That's pretty cool. But yeah, this is how you do it. You pull this out, push that thing apart, stick it in, and then that's probably why there's so much extra wire on here, so that you can then flip it over. There's also another thing in here. There's a felt down there and some metal underneath that, so don't lose that either. That's I heard that mentioned in another video. I don't know what the hell they were talking about, but mine fell out, and I'm like, oh, that's what was in there. If you can see real close, there's a little piece of felt in there with a hole that goes to metal underneath, which this bearing rides on. Pretty cool. Okay, so what I did, I held this side. You could probably do it easier than I did, but I actually used tape on this other side down here. You can kind of see. So just hold it in place, and then I'll just pull the tape off now. But it's in there. It should work. I wanted to show what I did here. So I got this part. I resoldered the black wire that goes actually down, where the hell is it here? That one down there. That comes out right there. So that was cut. When I got this thing, it was cut and it was just sitting there. There's I didn't even know what it was, but I put a new wire on there, soldered it on. Had to figure out that this whole thing comes out, and I think that was the trick. I heard people talking about drilling stuff and setting it, and I don't think they figured out how it all came apart. Anyway, but this should just flip over and we should be good. Let's see. Okay, here's a video of it running. So I'm turning this dial here. That must be low speed. And if you turn it again, then back to low speed. And if you turn it all the way counterclockwise, it stops. Yeah, so I don't exactly know the history of this electric motor. All I know is that it came out of my 57 Chevy Truck that I bought, and there was many owners, and don't really know too much about it. But yeah, the key thing on this is to be able to take the rotor out of the center of the motor and use that to hold the two spring pieces in place. That is the key. So knowing that whole center comes out, that's the key part of being able to put this back together. The only thing that was really wrong with mine was that this wire was clipped. And so if you just have a really short wire coming out of here, I would, before taking the whole thing apart, I would really try to work with what you have and try to make that connection, because this thing only needs one connection. So yeah, taking this whole thing apart is a nightmare, but I showed you how to do it. Pretty simple. You just need some tape and some patience, and that's it.